So Governor Cooper, thank you so much for taking the time out to interview with me here in the historic Hayesville Courthouse. We're so happy to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thanks a lot.
Before we jump into a few topics affecting the people across the state, and then of course people here in Clay County as well, tell me a little bit about your trip to Hayesville today.
I was so welcomed by people here in the community. There's a community spirit here that is very special. You can see what's happening downtown with the development that's going on, the fact that people are working so hard to make a better life for people here. I'm grateful to get the reception. I told them about putting forward, I believe, the largest investment in rural North Carolina that's ever been made in a budget, with trying to get more high-speed internet access, more economic development in rural areas, help for rural infrastructure, making sure that we invest in our schools and get more health care to people.
Absolutely.
So excited to talk about that.
So in Clay County, we have a broadband committee that's assembled as a means to improve the access and the quality to high-speed internet in our area. I know on March 14th you issued an executive order to increase broadband connectivity across North Carolina. And as you said, in today's schools and workplaces, high-speed internet is just simply not optional. What can this community here in rural Clay County, North Carolina expect to see in the future for their high-speed internet access?
High-speed internet access is critical to education. You have young people who are in our schools, they get access, but then when they go home, they don't have it, and it's creating a homework gap and problems for them. We need it for telemedicine and making sure that people have access to health care. Small businesses need it in order to get connected to markets across the world. We also know that our rural counties are suffering from lack of access. So what we have to do is expand the field. We want to work with this local Clay County effort to leverage with state dollars and other grant money that we can get more connection for the people of Clay County. We proposed $30 million. We've also proposed a grants program that will help with last mile coverage. We're trying to get more entities that can do this and to leverage public-private partnerships so that we can get more internet access to our rural areas. I think it's critical for our education and our economy and our health care. We look forward to working with them and getting their ideas about how we can help from a state perspective.
Absolutely. I understand two of your goals in education are to get North Carolina ranked as the best in the Southeast for teacher pay by 2023, and then also within the top 10 educated states by 2025. Can you touch on what you've done to kind of get that ball rolling toward those goals?
My mom was a public school teacher. I'm the product of North Carolina public schools, as are my three daughters. It is the key to our future to make sure that our young people are more educated than they were. My goal for our state is to have a North Carolina where people are better educated, where they're healthier, where they have more money in their pockets, and they have opportunities to live lives of abundance and purpose. And what we have to do is to make sure we invest in our schools and our teachers so that we can get better teachers in our school and to retain the ones that we have. And in addition to that, young people need to know more than ever for the new jobs of today, even in rural areas when we're talking about advanced manufacturing jobs. You just have to know more. And our goal was to have 2 million more adult North Carolinians have post-secondary degrees or credentials within the next 10 years. We want to continue that investment. And I'll tell you, the legislature has to make some choices. I mean, do we want to keep giving corporate tax giveaways across the board and keep giving tax breaks to the wealthy? Or do we want to invest in education, early childhood, pre-K, K through 12? Tri-County Community College does a great job training people here in Clay County. And of course, Western Carolina, our UNC Asheville, are great universities. We need to invest in those things instead, and as governor, I want to try and push us toward that.
You have proposed common sense gun legislation in order to keep our students safe in the face of these alarming rates of gun-related tragedies. Last week, Clay County Commissioners unanimously declared this county a gun sanctuary county, so I'm wondering what your opinion is on gun sanctuary counties and if those could potentially stand in the way of student safety.
Well, first, I grew up in rural North Carolina. I grew up around guns. I own a gun. I believe in the Second Amendment. But I think people of North Carolina and Clay County want to keep guns out of schools, for example. And I think that we have real concerns about automatic weapons that people might have. And the sheriff now permits handguns. We think that automatic weapons ought to be permitted as well. I think that we can have common sense legislation that is positive, that protects everybody, allows people to keep their guns, which we know in this country that's part of the Constitution. But one thing we want to do is to keep our students safe and our people safe. And I think there's a good balance that we can follow there.
Okay. In your State of the State address at the end of February, you called on legislators to expand Medicaid. So can you touch on what that would mean for our state's economy, for job creation, and for the affordability of healthcare?
We can start by what it means for Clay County. Almost 400 more people would get health insurance in Clay County. 17 new healthcare jobs would be created. We can pull down those billions of federal dollars that are available for our state to get more working people covered in North Carolina. And it can also help control our healthcare costs. One of the complaints I hear about rural North Carolina, and I've heard it today in Clay County, is that there aren't enough medical facilities for people. If we do this expansion in a North Carolina bipartisan way, we will attract more medical providers to rural areas because of this increased coverage that people will have for their health care. What we can do in North Carolina is take advantage of that money that we're already paying in federal taxes to Washington that's going to insure people in 37 other states and not North Carolina. It's time for that to change, and I hope that we can get resolutions from county commissions, from rural hospitals, to show how important this is for the health care of our citizens, and particularly the economy of rural North Carolina.
Okay. And then lastly, I just wanted to touch on free press. I mean, the concept of fake news has grown in popularity when referencing any type of media source, especially in the last couple of years. And I would say that sensationalism and bias have spread like wildfire through social media. So do you think the constitutional right of a free press is really under attack today? And why do you think it's important to have a free press?
You know, I think government officials have always wanted to attack the media when they don't like what the media has uncovered or what the media moves forward. A free press, free and open media is critical to our democracy. And we need to continue to foster that and not censor that. Now, the problem is with the advent of the internet and social media, there are a lot of quote-unquote news sources that are not providing real news. And what we have to do is to educate people about what is real news and what is not. And we certainly shouldn't use the term fake news just for something we disagree with. Facts are facts, science is science, evidence is evidence. And what we need in this country, in this state, in this country, is more civil discourse, civil debate, debate about the issues and base it on facts and science and data, and work together to achieve consensus for the best outcomes for people. I think most people who are at the dinner table at night, they're worried about making sure they got good health care, making sure that their children get a good education and have a life that's better than theirs. They care about a good paying job. They care about whether they'll have enough money for retirement. Those are the issues that people care about and want to hear their public officials work on and to work with them. And so we know government's not the answer to everything, but we do know that we can work together for a better tomorrow for our state and our families. And I'm really glad to be here today with you.
Well, thank you so much.
Great.
I appreciate this so much.
Thank you. Thanks a bunch.
This is Ashley Kairis with the Clay County Progress. If you would like more exclusive content like this, be sure to subscribe.